if it is working okay.
Five doors, three previous owners.
That one. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah. Are we live? There seems to be a delay. Why is there such a delay? Jace says, yeah. I don't know why there's a delay, folks, but I do sincerely apologise for the rather difficult technical issues that I've had. I've been preparing this, believe it or not, most of the afternoon, and unfortunately, right up until the last minute, um, I thought it was doing well, and then I messed things up. But a warm welcome to you. Thanks for clicking on to the 83rd edition of the Global Weather and Climate Report. Just bear with me 1 second, because I'm a wee bit conscious of the delay going on here at the moment. You don't know, it's just a delay. Is it quite noticeable? Just a mic, just right. Right, I'm going to stick at this. So anyway, like I said, warm welcome, 83rd edition of the Global Weather and Climate Report. Winter, meteorological winter anyway, is now over. And we are in meteorological spring. I know people's definition of spring is between astronomical versus meteorological, but certainly when it comes to weather records, we tend to go by meteorology because it's broken up into 3 month periods. So winter obviously being December through February, and spring being March through May. Hope everybody is well wherever you are. This is technically the third live stream I've ever done, but it's the second kind of proper one, and I'm going to give it a good crack anyway. Hopefully, with time, I can start to improve technology. I'm having a really difficult time. I wish there was actually somebody out there that lived in this area that could actually sit down with me and show me what's going on, because I just find it very, very difficult when it comes to technology, whether it be, mechanics or technology or whatever. I seem to be quite useless at that anyway. But anyway, I'll go through the live stream, the live chat, should I say, and see how everybody is getting on today. The sun is shining, the temperature is mild, and back 10 years ago, it was a very different story. Both the eastern United States and the UK started off March on a very, very mild, very, very cold note. I'm not even going to pronounce your name. I do. Rory, I think it is, saying smashing day here in Tipperary. Hi, all clear here from Glen Shee, according to Nigel Johnson. Welcome, Nigel, to the live stream today. I hope you're well, mate. Mark Kinnish, these things happen, Mark. Don't worry about it. Yeah, well, that's true, Mark. David Vogan, Shropshire this week. Doesn't look as if it's going to be overly cold, if I'm being honest with you. Chilly cold, very cold in Kirkintilloch, says David, the old boy. GS72, they will only get better, Mark. Yeah, that's true. Hopefully. Well, I'm hoping that's the case anyway. Hi to Paul James. Afternoon from a sunny Hampshire. A warm welcome to you, Paul James. Thanks for taking the time out of your Sunday to listen to my waffle. Let me know in the comment section below actually where everybody is tuning in from I would be curious to see. So we've got Shropshire, we've got Hampshire, we've got Oxfordshire, 9 degrees in South Oxfordshire, beautiful part of the world. Matthew Orchard, thanks for tuning in as well. I do greatly appreciate that, my friend. And let's see who else is tuning in today. Like I said, the sun is shining. It's a beautiful afternoon, actually, and long may that continue. I'm not convinced that we're done completely with cold weather. If you've been following me and you've seen the March outlook, I kind of share my thoughts with regards to high latitude blocking and whatnot. But if you don't have cold air over Europe to tap into, it's essentially like a waste of a good blocking area of high pressure. So Mark Kinnish, is the Atlantic due to go into the cold phase? I've heard it's a 30-year cycle. Well, I'm going to look at that, Mark, hopefully in today's video. John Simpson, it says, hello from Nottingham. J72, Ilkley, 5 Celsius here. Quite a chilly one, Jace, down where you are. Let me just kind of see who else. Less of the old boy, even though you're right. Pushing 70 soon, aren't you? Let me see here. So, hi Paul. Man United are winning. Well, good on them. Rangers almost fluffed it yesterday by getting beat by Motherwell at Ibrox 2-1. But then our friends on the other side of Glasgow got beat today 2-0 in Edinburgh, which for I don't want to start a controversial conversation right enough. Good on Man United for winning so far. I'm sure Richard Trout will be delighted with that. We'll go through the live stream briefly for another few minutes, and then we'll look into some of the weather stuff here. Nigel, we had snow during last night here in Glen Shea. Hills are still white with a very cold easterly during the daytime. I'm pretty sure, Nigel, that the temperature got up close to 10 Celsius here in Evanton, which is approximately 14 miles to the north of Inverness. We've had a few frosts, right enough, but no snow, I don't think. Hello to my mum as well. She's, I believe, watching also. Let me see here. Our good friend Gavin Partridge of Gav's Weather Vids has tuned in. I do greatly appreciate your support, Gavin. Do subscribe to this channel if you haven't already done so. I'm sure most folk on Marflin Weather here on YouTube are a subscriber to Gav as well. But he's doing a terrific job down at the Towers. So a warm welcome back from the shops. Hope you didn't forget anything, Gavin, at the shops. Be very white on the mountains, Paul Amos says. But yeah, I drive up and down the A9 Monday to Friday, and it's obviously some of the snowiest parts of Scotland. So when most places are not seeing much in the way of snow, especially our friends down in the south of England, unfortunately, that have not seen snow for perhaps a few years. I'm fortunate enough to live in a part of the world that actually does see snow even on a mild winter. Most if north of the central belt, the winter turned out average. Then really from the Glasgow Edinburgh corridor south, it was warmer than average. And I think the further south you went this winter, the milder it was. Remember that we did have a cold spell during the middle portions of January. We also seen it at the very end of November, early December. That was, I think it was one of the coldest starts to December since 2010, believe it or not. And even across the south of England, there was some nights during the middle portions of, I think it was between the 15th and the 20th of January. Some of the nights were down -8, -10. Now, there was a snow system, if you remember, that crossed over the north of France. If that snow had been just a little bit further north, across the southern swathe of England, you probably would have been talking -12 to -16 Celsius. I wouldn't be surprised. Places such as Benson in Oxfordshire, for example, known cold hollows where that cold drains into a low-lying area, you really do get the temperatures dropping off quite a bit. But then things changed around quite significantly. Once we got towards the 20th of January, right the way through till now, I think the El Nino took over the pattern and has been driving this very, very mild spell. So yeah, so let's see what folks are saying. Campsie Hill's covered in snow, right? I didn't realise that actually. So that's quite interesting that there's a bit of snow cover. Is that at the moment? The snow has been covering. Paul James had snow last March for 24 hours, but that's it since 2018. Yeah, it's really tough these days. I think with this warm Atlantic at the moment, also it's becoming harder to get snow. I'm not saying that winter is done and we're never going to see snow again. I think we need to start to see the Atlantic changing. Mark says about the 30-year cycle. The Atlantic is really warm at the moment compared to average. That's probably what's fueling the strong jet stream as well. And there's other things such as the solar maximum as well that has got to have been having some sort of influence on the overall situation. Look at what's going on in California. We'll look at that in just a second. Massive amounts of snow. We've seen the atmospheric rivers pounding the west coast of North America. We've also seen that happen in Western Europe, where we've had tremendous amounts of rainfall extending all the way from the back end of summer, autumn, and through winter. We've seen tremendous amounts of rainfall and moisture. But that delayed reaction between ocean and atmosphere with regards to the El Nino, I do think that we eventually seen the atmosphere respond to the +2 Celsius warmer than average sea surface temperatures over the central and eastern Pacific. That has now then taken centre stage. Forget about the Magellan Oscillation. Forget about the stratospheric warmings. It's been a weird winter. We've had 3, even 4 strat warmings this winter. And I don't know if we've seen much influence of that. Now, the Arctic Oscillation, North Atlantic Oscillation is trying to go negative, but like I say, without any cold air in place, the increased blocking that we see, essentially, it feels like it's meaningless. But we'll try and get to some information in just a second. Gav says it's been such a deluge winter. It's crazy. It certainly has been, Gav, I must admit. Matthew, Paul James, Matthew Orchard. Yep, for us, it's been rain all the way. We've actually had slightly drier than average conditions up here across northern UK compared to the south, which then therefore shows you that the jet has been a little bit further south as well. So let me see here what we're talking about. It can be a little bit hard sometimes to kind of see. If I haven't given you a mention so far, can you please do so? I see there's, in terms of concurrent viewers, there's 25 at the moment here. If you're enjoying the live stream, be sure to hit the like button. You know the script by now. Hit the like button, share with your friends and family, and also subscribe to the channel as well, because I'm going to be looking at the springtime. I'm still a little bit unsure with regards to whether we're going to start to see a drier theme as we move through March, April, and May. What's summer going to do? That's the big question as well. The possibility of a La Niña developing as well La Niña tends to have a kind of drier influence on the overall rainfall distribution across Europe, Western Europe. How hot is the summer going to be? Well, obviously we've got a very warm Atlantic at the moment. We've got a solar maximum going on at the moment. You would tend to think that you would lean more towards warmer than average, even before we even start with regards to extremes, the chance of 35 +Celsius at some point this summer. I think overall, like the winter, being probably within the top 10 warmest of all time, summer is more than likely to be warmer than average. But what type of summer are we going to see? That's the big question, obviously. So let me continue to look through. Hi to Richard Trott. Warm welcome to you. Thanks for taking the time out to tune in to the live stream today. Hope this stream is going well. Hi, Gavs Weathervids. Paul James. Man United hanging on a hard watch. I'm assuming they're winning, Richard, I hope, for your sake. Ducks swimming in the fields here. Yeah, that was the case actually a couple of months ago. doing deliveries over in the Black Isle, which is between here and Inverness, the amount of water in the fields was just unbelievable, wasn't it? And it looks as if the south of the UK is seeing in the epicenter of tremendous amounts of rain these days. So I'm going to go away from the live chat, and we're going to look at what's going on around the world at the moment here. This is an interesting couple of tweets here by Colin McCarthy. He's based in California. And what we've got at the moment is a massive snowstorm, between 10 and 12 feet of snow. Now, this is one of the snowiest parts of the world, no question about it. You've got tremendous amounts of moisture coming off the Pacific when you get these atmospheric rivers setting up, and you've got enough cold air in place. You get these epic snowstorms of multiple feet within the space of a matter of days. But Colin shares this tweet here from his hotel in Truckee in California. So look at that there. Wouldn't it be amazing to be able to see this in the UK? Unfortunately, we are not going to see that in any time in the near future, unfortunately. But he's providing some tremendous videos here on Twitter. Look at that there. Incredible stuff, actually, isn't it, really? Even just the thought of being in a nice cozy log cabin and watching it snow would be amazing. Whiteout conditions, very, very dangerous conditions. Now, I must say, every winter we do see near whiteout conditions on my drive between Inverness and Glasgow, or Inverness and Perth anyway. And even when it's sometimes a mild situation as well, we still can get some significant snowstorms as we move up and down through the Highlands. That is one thing that I'm very fortunate with, that I've got. I live in a part of the world that does tend to see a bit of winter compared to other places. So we'll wait and see what happens next winter. I think the stronger of an El Nino or stronger of a La Niña you tend to get, unfortunately, that tends to lead to a warmer overall winter for the UK, Ireland, and Western Europe in general. But certainly the snowstorm at the moment across California, the Sierra Nevada to be exact, is pretty significant. It'll be interesting to see. I think there was a gust of 190 miles per hour in one location within the High Sierra, probably a very exposed spot, but that is an incredible wind gust. And I think it was back in 2017, there was a wind gust of 199 miles per hour was achieved, which is pretty remarkable stuff when you think about that. The highest recorded wind gust in the UK is 173 miles per hour, and we have seen wind gusts in excess of 165 miles per hour, for example, at Cairngorm Summit back in December of 2011. So, like California, fully exposed to Pacific storms, here in the UK, we're fully exposed to storms off the Atlantic Ocean. So anyway, let's have a look and see what has been taking place. This is a publication by the Met Office showing that the warmest February on record for England and Wales. Now, I know that there is people out there that are going to dismiss some of the things that has been published by the Met Office, the BBC, etc., etc. You know my stance with regards to climate change, that I believe it has happened in times gone by. There has been episodes of warming and cold in Earth's history, and this is a particular time that we're seeing temperatures go through the roof. Ocean, land area, and atmosphere. There's no denying that. There's no getting away from that. We are warming up. The question is, how are we warming up? Why are we warming up? Is it carbon dioxide, or is there more things going on? And with a warm ocean, a warm Atlantic, a warm Mediterranean, you're increasing the amount of water vapor within the atmosphere, so therefore you're going to see more in the way of rainfall. Now, interestingly enough, this time last year, coming off the back of a 3-year La Niña, we had a very dry spell. And, we were hearing reports from the Environment Agency, whether it be SEPA up here in Scotland, talking about concerns about drought and, climate change. And then, as I forecasted back last spring, that I thought we would see with the El Nino developing in the Pacific, we would increase the chance of seeing significant amounts of rainfall. And lo and behold, that has been the case. And quite often, when drought gets mentioned, you start to see the atmospheric tap getting switched on. But certainly the winter has been warm. This is an interesting graphic showing the mean temperatures. There's that cold spell during the middle portions of January. There's the cold spell to start meteorological winter. But look at this spell of warmth during the majority of December. Then we had it the back end of January, little cold spell to end the month. Then look at February. The warmest temperatures compared to average was actually during the month of February. Little cold spell, as you can see last weekend, but overall it was a warmer than average winter. This is the temperature anomaly for the UK for the winter as a whole. And like I said, actually average conditions up here in the Highlands of Scotland, but the further south you go, as already explained, the warmer the winter has been. This is rainfall compared to average during the winter, and it has been very, very wet, especially across the heart of England. If you notice, eastern Scotland has also seen a lot of rainfall, as we did see back in the autumn also. In terms of sunshine, duration compared to average, sunnier than average up here across the north, arguably actually some of the highest percentage above average in my neck of the woods along the Murray coast and parts of Easter Ross has seen the sunniest conditions compared to average anywhere in the UK. And look at how dull it's been across England, Wales, parts of Northern Ireland also. We've seen a stormy winter as well. 10 named storms between September and the end of January. 12 if you include the month of August, which seen 2 named storms. Now, the days with ground frost in the UK, this is based on the UK average. You can see there is a downward trend. But, if we go before 1965, you say to yourself, let's have a look at this information from a way back hundreds, thousands of years ago. I'm sure we'll see similar trends in terms of lack of frosty days compared to years gone by. This is the mean temperature for the UK winter, and you notice that there has been a gradual stepping up. Now, when you warm the Atlantic, you're going to warm the air temperature in response to that as well. Rainfall, same idea as the temperature. Warm Atlantic, increase in water vapor, and you will see more rainfall. But there's a very slight rise in terms of average rainfall, I think. Let me know in the comments below what you think of that. So let's look at the global picture. This is the last 90 days. So this is basically from the start of December to the start of March. And when you've got nice warm temperatures in the oceans, you're going to see nice warm temperatures in the continents as well. Now, interesting enough, large swathes of China is actually warmer than average, or colder than average, should I say. Mongolia and parts of southern Siberia is slightly colder than average, but look at Russia in general. Look at Scandinavia, slightly colder than average also. But Europe has seen a very warm winter. When you've got a warm Atlantic and you've got a warm Mediterranean basin, there's no surprise that we're going to see warmer than average temperatures. North America has seen one of the warmest winters on record, without doubt. Look at Brazil as well, but that is a consequence of that nearby El Nino effect. Let's have a look and see what the temperature normally has been for the last 60-day period. Not really much change. If you notice here, arguably slightly warmer than average across Scandinavia, which is quite interesting. And then let's have a look and see what the monthlies have been. So if we skip back to the month of December, and you can see here that it was firmly colder than average across Scandinavia. We had slightly colder than average across the far north of the UK, but overall it was a warmer than average month. It was one of the warmest Decembers on record for North America as well as the United States. This is the month of January. You can see here again, Northern Europe cold, Central and Southern Europe is warmer than average. If you notice here, the United States had a colder January compared to December. If you notice, and the UK, if we look at the UK close up, let's look at the European version. And you can see that this was January, which is quite interesting. Is it this? No, I do apologize. It's actually the month of March so far. Now I've got a slightly warmer than average March, so it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out. So if we can get right back to the proper chart, this is January, like I said, and you can see average to slightly below average temperatures across the majority of the UK and Ireland. This is the month of December, so you can see here north of the central belt, average to below average. From the central belt south, it's warmer than average. This is January. This is February, and I'll be interested to see how the month of March goes. So look at how warm Europe is compared to average, compared to the UK, Ireland, Iberia. Look at Iceland. It really stands out like a sore thumb, if you notice, in terms of the temperature anomaly. And we're going to talk a little bit about La Nina, because it looks as if La Nina is coming back once again. So you had all the hype, the fear mongering with regards to El Nino and how the global temperature is going to go through the roof. Now, the global temperature did go through the roof even before the El Nino took place. And in the last live stream, I showed you the lower tropospheric temperature profile and how it rises and falls based on both solar activity as well as that the El Nino versus La Nina. We're seeing this kind of step up process. Now, every super El Nino that goes off, you see the strong La Nina in response. Now, we are seeing the coinciding between the solar maximum and a very strong El Nino. So the global temperature has went through the roof. It's reached the highest levels in the satellite era. The question mark is going to be, are we going to see a downward trend in the global temperature with the response of a developing La Nina? So if you look at here, this is the CFS V2 sea surface temperature anomaly profile. This is based on the 84 to 2009 climatology. And you can see for the month of April that we're starting to see a cooling trend taking place against the South American coast. Look at how warm the tropical and subtropical Atlantic is. It is really warm compared to average. Now, the problem they have is that La Nina tends to lead to lower wind shear. Wind shear has detrimental influence on developing tropical cyclones in the Atlantic. But La Nina, while El Nino increases wind shear, we have decreased wind shear with La Nina, and it looks as if this could be a potentially historic hurricane season, and the climate folk will certainly jump all over that. But you can see with regards to the Atlantic how warm it is. The Pacific is starting to see changes. Now watch what happens as we go into May. You start to see the cooling really taking hold in the central and eastern equatorial Pacific. Then this is as we move into the June, which is the start of the hurricane season itself. You notice here that we've got a warm overall Indian Ocean. We don't have that cold east versus warm west, which was the strong positive Indian Ocean dipole. It'll be interesting to see how much influence this has as we go towards next autumn and winter. But you can see by the time we reach June and even into July that La Nina really gets going, and there is reason to believe that this La Nina could become very strong as we go through the summer coming up. So, but it's the rapid change between El Nino from the peak probably at the end of December to what could be a strong La Nina by the time we reach the back end of summer. So, what influence will this have on both the hurricane season and the overall hemispheric summer season coming up? That will be the big question. We're probably going to increase drought across parts of North America. I think we will start to see a drying trend. We're going to lose the strong influence of El Nino and the increase in rainfall as we progress through the next few months here. And I think we are going to see a warmer than average summer. The problem is, what type of summer do we get? I think when there's hot spells, it could be very warm, but it's based on how the atmosphere responds to the sea surface temperature normally. But look at how warm the Atlantic is for the month of August. So we're maintaining this strong, warm AMO signal or multi-decadal oscillation. And like that El Nino is going to probably La Nina, sorry, is probably going to peak. You notice here it's becoming quite a Madoki like La Nina, where you've got the coldest waters compared to average now out over the central Pacific. That could have a different influence on the atmosphere towards the autumn and indeed the winter. But I think La Nina is coming. How much cooling influence will that have? Will it start to create a bit of a cap with regards to the global warming that we're seeing at the moment? Do we have any sort of turnaround in the global average temperature in the coming months? Remember the Hunga Tonga volcanic eruption that took place a couple of years ago in January? Arguably, that has possibly increased rainfall in parts of the world, has decreased rainfall in other parts of the world. We'll wait and see what happens. What time are we in? Because I'm conscious of folk wanting to have their dinner on a Sunday evening. So yeah, interesting things to look at. Let's have a look and see what's showing up in Twitter sphere. And this is an interesting recent tweet here by our friends at World Climate Service. As others have noticed, the latest CANCIPS forecast suggests a very active Atlantic hurricane season. If it verifies, the warm Atlantic cool Enzo contrast would be easily the greatest on record. So I think one of the take homes from today's video is the developing La Nina and the potential of a very strong hurricane season. But how many times have we seen things like this taking place and it actually doesn't be the case because some other parameter is having influence, so to speak, as well? So you can't necessarily just hone in on one particular thing and say this is what's going to happen. The atmosphere always provides curveballs when it comes to forecasting. So yeah, very, very, like I say, very interesting times coming up here. It looks as if this warm theme is going to continue. And it wouldn't surprise me, by the way, if we actually have a warm end to March, despite the fact that we see an early final stratospheric warming taking place here. So let's have a look and see what extremes are taking place around the world at this moment in time. Now, there has been some exceptional warmer than average conditions across Central Europe for the month of February. Temperatures as high as 7 Celsius above average for the month of February, especially in the Alpine and Central European region. Our friend Maximiliano Herrera says this is extreme temperatures around the world. The February 2024 in Switzerland was exceptional and had a temperature anomaly of plus 4.7 Celsius above average. Some stations like St. Gallen never froze, which is unprecedented. Winter had an anomaly of plus 2.7 Celsius and tied 2019-2020 as the warmest winter on record. And so yeah, there's no getting away from that. Sorry, there's a cat in the garden that's caught my attention there. It caught my eye, so sorry about that. So let's continue to skip through here. Historic warmth has been ongoing in parts of South America. That is a direct consequence of El Nino, of course. 44 Celsius was recorded in Paraguay, the second hottest March day in South America, and after the 45 was recorded in Argentina back in 1936. So month of March, second hottest temperature ever recorded in South America due to a direct consequence, in my opinion, of El Nino. So let's continue to see what extremes are taking place. It'll be interesting to see how much snow falls over the next day or so in California. I'll be reporting on snow totals probably in next week's video with regards to that. Winter in Iceland 2023-24 had an average temperature of minus 1.7, which is 1.6 below the 91 to 2020 average, and it was the coldest winter, believe it or not, in Iceland since 1994-95. So there you go. While parts of Central Europe has seen one of the warmest winters on record, it's been the coldest in Iceland since 94-95. So there you go, a little bit of balance, so to speak. The February 2024 in Canada was very warm, with just a few locations colder than normal in the west. Warmest February on record at Toronto Pearson International Airport. Records go back to 1938. And in downtown Toronto, since 1840. It was the second warmest winter in Montreal as well. So some very, very remarkable statistics coming out here. Cold temperatures, believe it or not, in parts of Qatar. This is a tweet here by Thierry Goose. 7.3 Celsius in Abu Samra. If I'm correct, this is a new March national record, beating the previous record of 7.5 back in 2012 here. So it's not a case that the planet is about to blow up. We're warming things up. We still, remember, have Arctic sea ice. We've still got Antarctic sea ice. And we know the history of the world has seen these warm spells and cold spells. I'm sure I'm going to get shot down for that. There'll be people out there that will say, quit your nonsense and denial. But in my personal opinion, we have been here before. We might not have been around to see it, but I think we have been here in the past. I've watched enough documentaries on both sides of the argument to see that there is a good counter argument to be had. So we continue to skip through here. Japan has just been unbelievable. Month after month, record-breaking monthly temperature anomalies. But we've also seen some very impressive cold. China, for example, has seen outrageous cold, but also outrageous warmth. And I think that's been having an influence on the troposphere, the stratosphere profile also. So continue to skip through. There's been some very early cold actually in parts of Antarctica. Stefano de Battista was showing that we had temperatures in the minus 60s in parts of Antarctica, and that's quite early to see that level of cold. It has also been one of the warmest summers down under in Australia as well. So just really crazy stuff going on when you do increase the energy budget of the planet. You do get some very extreme situations going on. Worldwide for the month of February, according to Maximiliano, Northern Hemisphere, the highest temperature was 44.6 Celsius in Chad back on the 29th of February. And the lowest temperature in the hemisphere was minus 58.0 at Summit Camp in Greenland on the 1st of February. For the Southern Hemisphere, 49.9 was recorded in Carnarvon on the 18th of February in Australia, and minus 62.7 was recorded on the 28th of February in Antarctica. Like I say, some very cold conditions for this early in the winter season down in Antarctica, where the days are growing increasingly short. So interesting things going on around the world. Let me know in the comment section below if you've enjoyed today's video. Are you enjoying the live streams? I hope you are, and if you are, it gives me more reason to do these live streams. So I'll finish off by looking at the live chat. Quick mention, try and answer one or two questions, and then I'm going to round up, because I think my good lady is probably going to say, you want to start hurrying up, Mark, because the dinner's ready. We've got Mikey and Cara visiting this evening, so a very warm welcome to Mike and Cara. It's good to have them over for their company and a little bit of enjoyable food and drink, I'm sure, later on. So let's continue to see here. Totally agree, Mark. These things come around in cycles. We've seen it all before. Hot summers come around, cold winters come around. Yeah, Mark, I totally agree with you. Still got 34 folk on the concurrent viewer. So let me know. Say hello in the live chat. I can give you a mention, because it's a good way of interacting with people actually, rather than doing these videos and uploading them. There's a little bit more interaction, a little bit more involvement between myself and the viewer. So I do enjoy doing these live streams, and hopefully next week I can actually get things up and running at 4 p.m. as opposed to nearly 4:30. But perseverance has won out. Extreme Lemon, hello Mark, nice things in the 12Z run today. In the coming video, by the way, in the next couple of days, we are going to look in more detail at the weather pattern for the upcoming week, and also the next couple of weeks. So we'll look at that here. Paul James, yes, Mark, always enjoy your summary. It's kind of cut off. I apologise, Paul. World roundups. Yeah, it's good to have a look at the global picture. I suppose we get bogged down, especially if you watch the BBC. It kind of looks as if everything's all doom and gloom in terms of climate change, but it is good to see what's going on around the world as opposed to just on our doorstep here. Paul Amos, great live. Thanks for making the time, and your good lady agree about cyclical temp change over the years. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's entitled to their opinion with regards to climate change, and I think it's good to have a healthy discussion about it. We are bombarded by the doomsday scenarios, folks, and I think it would be good for people like the BBC, even the Met Office. I do have great respect for the Met Office and the job that they do, but it's always one side of the argument. They don't give us the counter argument. And my argument with that is that people are entitled to two sides, and then you can make up your own decision. Now, I've made up my own decision years ago that I think there's more to it. The world is too old for all of a sudden we come along, we pump CO2 into the atmosphere. There's been clear evidence in the past that the CO2 levels have rocketed through the roof. They've also decreased. Now, if we didn't have carbon dioxide at all, we would be doomed equally. So carbon dioxide is not this, this devilish gas which is going to completely, destroy the planet. It's helped green the planet over the years as well. So it's not all doom and gloom, and I think we're doing a pretty good job at trying to clean up the environment and the atmosphere. Remember back to the smog days in London, for example, all the chimneys pumping out the coal. You could sit here all day talking about this, and you could be blue in the face. Some people will take it on board, some people won't. What I like, Mark, is the content between you and Gav is two different perspectives on the weather, and both are great to watch. Appreciate that, Jace. I really do. It's trying to create a unique channel that complements other channels as opposed to going against anything. Gav does a terrific job, and he's got his own unique style of presenting the weather, and his knowledge is just second to none, to be honest with you. Way beyond some of the stuff that he knows. I'm like, it's way beyond me. But I greatly appreciate Gavin's input. Steffi Adcock, hello to you. Welcome. Leave the geology to the geologist. It is not just about CO2, and if you studied a degree in it, you would see why. Yep, I 100% agree with that, Steffi. Geology's got a lot to do with it, obviously, as well as CO2. And I don't try to claim to know something that I don't know anything about. I'll maybe give an opinion about it, but it's not a case that this is exactly what I think is going to happen. Inverness, Scotland says, great as always, Mark. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in, Inverness, Scotland. You're not overly far away from me here in Edmonton. Hope you're enjoying your afternoon. Like I said, I hope I don't, even Steffi, I hope I haven't, offended anybody by what I say, but I think we all should be able to speak our mind without any kind of backlash. It's the same with the winter stuff. This time of the year, the trolls come out, they're looking for you to fail, and, at the end of the day, you're only doing, it's an opinion. And it sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't work. Hello, sweet or suit. Warm welcome to you. Thanks for tuning in. Richard Trott saying the Man City 2, Man United 1. Typical, we are doing a Rangers laugh out loud. Well, yeah. The only difference, Richard, is that Man United aren't in the top of the league. we still are, luckily, because Celtic managed to fluff it. Paul James says Richard can't fault Foden. So anyway, I think I've waffled on long enough. That is just coming up for 45 minutes. Thanks for watching. I greatly appreciate you take the time out to stay tuned. And I'll call it a day there, I think. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, and I'll see you hopefully again around the same time next week with a live stream. So enjoy your week. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.